it is a grain. It is full of fiber and protein. So we love it, and we love it as a great substitute for rice particularly. So quinoa can be a great base for making nourish bowls, Buddha bowls, any type of a grain bowl where you have a grain and a green and then multiple vegetables, maybe some nuts and seeds, maybe some fruit, and then maybe a light dressing on top. It creates a variety of wonderful dishes. Learning how to cook quinoa, though, can be a little intimidating if you've never cooked with it before. It takes just a couple tips until you get it down pat. So I'm using a package of quinoa that was purchased from Aldi. The first thing that you're going to want to learn how to do with quinoa is to rinse it. In order to rinse it, you're going to need a very fine strainer or colander. This is a very fine mesh colander, and not everybody is going to have one of these. If you find you like quinoa and you cook it a lot, this will be something that you'll want to purchase. They're not expensive. It's just finding one and then remembering to purchase it. If you choose not to rinse the quinoa, just know that it will have more of a bitter taste to it if you don't rinse it. Because the grain is so small, if you spill it or if it goes through a colander that isn't fine enough, it will make a mess that is a little bit of a challenge to clean up. So for my purposes, I want to make a large batch of quinoa so that I can use it for multiple meals throughout the week. So with quinoa, 1 cup of dry quinoa will actually make 3 cups of cooked quinoa. So you need to pay attention to the recipe you're following and how much quinoa you want. So this package is 16 ounces, which is 2 cups. So I want to make the whole package because I want 6 cups of cooked quinoa. So when I'm reading on the back and the instructions say, rinse quinoa thoroughly prior to cooking to remove residue. Bring 2 cups of water and 1 cup of quinoa to a boil. Option to add a teaspoon of salt. I am not going to do that. Cover the pan with a tight-fitting lid and cook on low heat for 15 minutes. Then you remove from the heat, keeping the lid on, letting it sit for 3 to 5 minutes. And then you can wait until all of the water is absorbed. If it does need longer than that, then you just fluff it with a spoon or with a fork, and it's ready to go. Quinoa can be eaten hot. It can be eaten cold. I usually, once I make a batch of it, it ends up in the refrigerator for meals during the week, and I eat it cold. I don't usually heat mine up. This is a preference. So if you like it warm, warm it up. If you like it cold, eat it right out of the refrigerator. So we're going to open the package. And because I don't need 1 cup or 1/2 cup, because I know I want to use the entire package, I don't need to measure this out. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to fill a bowl with water pretty full up and place my colander that has the quinoa in it inside here to really cover all of the grain so it gets rinsed off. So now that I have my bowl full of water, my colander sitting inside, I'm going to add probably half of the quinoa, just so I don't make a mess. And now that I see I'm not making a mess, I can add the rest of the quinoa. You just want to be mindful that you don't spill any of this because it is such a small grain, a little challenging to clean up. And then I'm just going to sink and lower my grain inside of this bowl. And then finally, I'm going to want to continue to run water over the top of this just to make sure that I get all of the grains rinsed. I'm just allowing the water to run over the top of the grains. I'm resting them in and out of the water, making sure that they don't overflow. And it does take a little bit of patience to make sure you don't make a mess. And you get all of your grains rinsed off. And I could tell by a little bit of a yellowish water in my bowl that I did a pretty good job of rinsing. We're going to pretend I have my stovetop here, and we are going to then follow the rest of our directions. 2 cups of water for 1 cup of quinoa. I have the whole package in here, so this is 2 cups of dry quinoa. So I'm going to do 4 cups of water. That's 4 cups of water. And this is my 2 cups of quinoa. Again, you need to be a little patient with getting the quinoa into your container so it doesn't make a mess. Once you have all of your quinoa and your water into your pan, you're going to turn your burner up until you get this to boil. And the boil is more of a rapid boil, so not just 1 or 2 bubbles, but really get it to a rolling boil. Then you're going to place your lid on nice and tight, and you'll turn the heat down to low. So I have a gas burner that I use, so I turn it pretty much all the way down. I set my timer and I come back and check it in about 15 minutes. When your timer goes off at 15 minutes, you'll turn the stove off, but you're going to remove this entire container from the hot burner. Place it on a burner that hasn't been on and set your timer for about 3 to 5 minutes. In about 3 to 5 minutes, you're going to take your lid off. You're going to kind of poke around with a spoon or a fork, make sure all of the water is absorbed, and you just kind of fluff it up. That's when you know your quinoa is done. You can serve your quinoa warm. You can put it into a bowl. You could put it right on a salad, mix it with greens, use it as a substitute for any rice dish. You could also portion out your leftovers, keep it in the refrigerator for 3 to 5 days, and then you can use it throughout the week to add into other meals. We'll lightly fluff it. And this is the final product.